Okay, so this week we'll start from something simple. Start from a very simple question. When you hear the word meditation, what comes to your minds? What exactly is the meaning of meditation? When you close your eye, you sit cross-legged, or you do walking meditation, you sitting meditation, you do breathing meditation, you do loving kindness meditation. What exactly that you are trying to achieve? To what? To relax? To find inner peace? To achieve enlightenment? Or inner peace? Thank you, Messi. So we meditate to find inner peace. Okay, that's one answer. Is there anything else that you want to achieve? Focusing the mind, Patrick. Thank you. Away from distraction, from Bob. Okay, interesting. So you're looking for connection with self. Okay, easy. To find answer. Okay, Melanin, what kind of answer? To releasing pain. Oh, interesting. Developing concentration and insight. That's the nice one, Cameron. Confident in myself. Being present in the moment. Okay, all right. Quite interesting answer from each one of you. See, you don't answer the same question. You expect something, differently. Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. Okay, Edwin, that's quite deep. Your goal of meditation, synthesize with spirit. Okay, to know who you are. Okay, all right. Let's see if your answer is related to today's lecture. So when we hear the word meditation, oh, by the way, let me share something first, because I think it's important because our attitude toward meditation is important. If you set your attitude right, then you will practice with confidence. Okay, more confident and happy and happier. For a person who looking for relaxation, peace of mind, reducing stress, this kind of thing, this kind of reason is more like, to me, it's more like the byproduct. When you practice meditation, this thing will happen. This thing will happen. If you do it correctly, your mind will come to the standstill. And when your mind stands still, it becomes calm. When it's calm, it relaxes. When it relaxes, it's happy. Why it's happy? Because it's no stress. And then you feel relief, feel relaxed, feel let go, feel inner peace. It's the byproduct, but it's not the meaning of meditation. So we need to get back to the root of this vocabulary. What is meditation, right? Then we go from there. The word meditation is the English vocabulary which get created to live life fully. Okay, right? Stillness, okay. All right. So the word meditation is, again, it's an English vocabulary. We'll get to the root of this word in a moment. But if we talk about meditation 20 years ago, it sounds foreign. Not many people know about it. And we have a skeptical mind. What exactly that you are trying to do when you close your eyes? Is that something good or something bad? So people have doubt about closing eye and do nothing. What the benefit of the man doing this? We have no idea, right? So recently, in the past decade, meditation become mainstream. People start talking about it. A lot of people, we're talking about millions of people sit and meditate regularly these days on a daily basis. Whatever technique they use, it doesn't matter. But they try to do something with their mind through their meditation practice, from what they learn from their teacher, from the books, from the seminars, from the class that they join. So they try to do something with their mind by closing their eye, sit cross-legged, sit on the chair, and then use the technique to develop the quality of the mind, to reduce stress, to release the tension, to let go, to forgive, to connect to the inner self, to connect to the source, to connect to God, all kind of reasons that people meditate. But today, I'm going to focus on the meaning of Buddhist meditation. Because when it comes to meditation, if you look at the dictionary, sometimes they give the meaning like this. Oh, meditation is to engage in contemplation or reflection. In other words, when someone sits and closes his eye or her eyes, that person is trying to achieve something through the thinking. Oh, how can I finish this project? How can I prepare for the meeting in the next 10 minutes? How can I give the best talk when I about to get on stage? So I sit and I think it through. So that's the meaning of meditation. Again, it's nothing wrong with this, okay? It depends on your view and your understanding of the word meditation, because meditation, like I said, it gets created later on from the scholar to come up with the English vocabulary named meditation. But here is not the meaning of Buddhist meditation at all. So I will share with you two vocabulary that I think is important when it comes to meditation practice. So now we have to go back and reference, from the term that used in the text, which is kept in the Pali terms. So when I study myself, I realized that many people back then, We're talking about 3,000 years ago, even before the Buddha achieved enlightenment. There were many people in ancient time, in Greeks, in India, that people try to look for the meaning of life, the purpose of life, and they try to find the real purpose of life. They do something about their mind. They torture themselves, they're starving, they stop eating, they sit underneath the sun. When it gets cold, they sit in the snow. Sometimes they sit in the cave. They do all kind of practices to get to understand the nature of their own mind. There's so many techniques. Okay? All of this has been done even before the Buddha time. And that's got my attention. Why people back then, they're so curious about life? Because people these days, we don't ask this question, what is the mind? What is life and how to live good life? We don't pay attention much in the spiritual dimension of life, but we only focus on the world, actually shape the way we see the world, the way we think. Oh, you need to go to good school, you need to get a good job, you need to get married, you get to have kids, you have to keep on making a living, you have to keep on doing this, and then you have no time to look after your mind. You have no time to ask this kind of question. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing here? And how long I'm going to keep doing this? And what am I going after I die? But surprisingly, people back then, they asked this kind of question. And I really like it. I said, wow, those people were very smart. They asked the important question, right? Because human being, we have body and the mind. We born with this. No matter who you are. You in the US, I'm in Thailand, in China, in Sri Lanka, in Singapore. Human being is human being. We compose of the same important elements. We have body and we have the mind. We know the body part. We seem to know, right? Okay, the doctor, they know, they study the body. The heart, the lung, the brain, how things function, the chemical in the body, how to be healthy, eat, exercise, sleep, rest. We kind of seem to know that. Whether we do it or not, that's another story. But for the mind part, we don't know much about it. We don't really know much about it. How much do you know about your mind? Not much, right? There is something called conscious mind, another thing called subconscious mind in the psychology world. For conscious mind, when we wake up, right? When we see, we hear, we smell, we taste, we touch, then we make decision. That's called conscious mind, working mind. But when we go to sleep, the mind go back to rest. We don't hear, we don't see, we don't smell, we don't taste, we don't touch. So the mind go back to rest. So in subconscious mind or when we unconscious, we don't know about that part. We don't know what's going on in the mind. We don't know the function of the mind. We don't know the size, the shape, the color. We don't know where the mind is in the body. But we seem to know that, we have mind. If the body without the mind is a dead body. If the mind without the body, some people call it ghost or call spirit, call it soul, call it whatever you call it. But to be a complete human being, we need to have body and mind together. But the thing is, the mind is the master of the body. If you control your mind, you control your life. You tell the body to walk, to eat, to come here, to sit, to meditate. It happened because the mind tells the body to do things. So that's why it's essential to get to know this element because it is our life. So people back then, they're curious about this. They don't worry about exercise, about eating vegan, meat or no meat. They just want to know what is my mind, what's in the mind, and how can I be liberated? How can I understand myself more through their own practice? So they keep on finding teacher. That's something I really impressed. People keep looking for teacher, one teacher after another until they're satisfied. Then they hope to find the answer from their teacher. So anyway, the first vocabulary is bhavana. What is bhavana? Bhavana is a Pali term. To keep it short, bhavana, this is the meaning that I prepare for you to save your time. To make something happen, to cause, to become, to bring into being, or to grow, to develop, to cultivate. This is the word bhavana. And why I introduce this word? Because I'm going to share with you the meaning of the word meditation, which is related to this vocabulary. And here is the one. Meditation, again, is English vocabulary. People don't know. People call it something else. When it comes to the mind development, they don't call it meditation. Sometimes they call it mental cultivation, mental development. But the root vocabulary of the word meditation stems from the Pali term called Samadhi. Samadhi is the Pali term. So people don't use meditation in the Buddha time, right? Because there's no one speak English. So they say Samadhi Bhavana, Samadhi Bhavana, Samadhi Bhavana. Samadhi Bhavana means, again, bhavana mean what? Bhavana mean to develop, right? To grow, right? To cultivate. So when we say samadhi bhavana, that means we develop samadhi, we grow samadhi, we cultivate samadhi. That's the meaning. And what is samadhi then? Okay, samadhi, the meaning that I feel like is more practical is the word concentration. Okay, so when it's come to the Pali terms, there is no single English vocabulary that can give the full meaning or all dimension of that Pali terms. So to me, the samadhi is one of the terms in Buddhism that's difficult to explain. It's not just meditation. Meditation is broad. Meditation is confusing. So here, samadhi point to concentration, just to keep it simple. So when you meditate, you focus, right? You keep your mind focused on something. You don't want the mind to be distracted, to scatter. So you work on that with whatever object that you use, so you can stay focused. And another thing is called one-pointed mind. So when you focus, your mind stay at one place, one object at a time. So in this session, you may use breathing technique. That means breathing is your object of concentration. So when you stay with your breath, if you can, for that 30 minutes, if your mind don't go anywhere, so that 30 minutes, that means your mind is focused with the breath. So that means you develop the quality of the mind to stay still for 30 minutes, because human mind, it doesn't like to stay still. It's everywhere. The moment you wake up until this evening, before you go to bed, your mind stay outside all day long. The meditation, the samadhi or the bhavana help us to deal with this, to keep the mind focused. So when the mind focused, the mind have ability to stay still, stay calm, stay relaxed, and then the stress and depression will reduce automatically. Eventually it will subside, it will go away, and then we start feeling relaxed, feeling peace, joy. So you see, that means the quality of the mind has been developed through that meditation object that you use. If you practice correctly, the result will come, same result, whatever object you use. And to me, the most interesting meaning of the word samadhi or meditation. So when I say samadhi, by default, you should really refer it back to the word meditation on your own. Okay. The most interesting meaning of the word samadhi is unification of mind. We'll get to that in a moment. Okay. So here, why we have to cultivate the mind? Why we have to develop the mind? There's so many reasons. So as we learn together, okay, for this one full year, I will keep giving you more information. Okay, we will learn something from each other more and more. So the mind is radiant, but is corrupted by a passing corruption. That's what the Buddha said. To me, I said, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that my mind is radiant. I didn't know that my mind has corruption or defilements. Emotional defilements is in human mind. The moment or the day that we were born, and we have no idea, because we don't know much about the mind, as I mentioned earlier, right? We don't know that the mind is radiant. We don't know the nature of the mind. We don't know what size, what color, what shape. We don't know where is the mind. And we don't know what inside the mind. A person who can say something like this, to me, he must see the mind. If you cannot see, how can you tell that the mind is radiant? That the mind has corruption, right? If you don't see me, how can you tell that I shave my head, I am wearing orange color? The reason you can say that, because you can see me on the screen. So that is why the Buddha see the mind. So enlightenment has something to do with human mind. So he fully understood the nature of human. Okay? The physical doctor understands fully about physical body, but they don't understand the nature of the mind. So if we think of the Buddha as a doctor, he is the mind expert. He understands from inside out of human mind, what caused us happiness, what caused us suffering. And then he shared with us this truth of human mind. That is why meditation has to be developed. It's the tool that available for us to develop the quality of the mind. So concentration, right? If the mind scatters everywhere, then the mind has less powerful. But if you are concentrated, if you stay focused, then your mind can be still. The still mind is the powerful mind. The scattered mind or the wandering mind is an unhealthy mind. Keep that in mind. When you think a lot, you feel tired. You feel stressed. You cannot focus. If you come back to your breath, you breathe in and breathe out just 5 or 10 times, you feel much better right then. Just right then. Because you come back with the breath. You let go all those 10,000 thoughts that run in your mind. Then you feel relief, you feel relaxed, you feel focused. Then you feel confident. You see, it's concentration, right? That's the meaning of samadhi or meditation. So the unification of mind is another definition of meditation that I like to emphasize, because to me, this is the deepest meaning of the word meditation that I can find. Don't take my word for it. Just take a look and reflect on it. So when we hear the word unifying, that means at least two things need to put together, need to be unified, right? So what would be that thing that unify together when it comes to meditation? So here I found the answer, okay, from my master. First, sensation. What is sensation? Sensation is, just to keep it simple, sensation is feeling. Feel good, not good, like, don't like, agitated, not agitated, or feel neutral. Perception. Perception, you perceive, right? You perceive and then you recognize, you remember. Thought is your thinking. Okay, understand. And cognition is your knowing. When the eye see the object, now you see me. How do you know this person on the screen is the Buddhist monk? So that means you have this information somewhere before. Maybe you learn from the class, from the school, and your teacher teach you that, oh, if the man look like this, he is the monk. Or then you have that information kept somewhere in the mind. So when the eye see the monk, automatically, simultaneously, you know what it is. And then you feel toward what you see. Oh, I like the monk. Oh, I don't like the monk. Oh, I don't feel anything about the monk. So feeling happening. And when feeling happening, you think of that thing that you see. When you like, you may thinking, oh, I want to listen to him. When you don't like, oh, this monk means nothing to me. Then I'll just close my computer and do something else. You see? What you see trigger your thinking. And why this thing happening? Because you have eye consciousness. Your eye see the form, see the monk. And then your memory come back. Oh, this person called a monk, Buddhist monk. And now he's speaking the Dhamma. Now I want to listen to his teaching, or I don't want to listen to his teaching. So this is your thinking on the background. And then you make decision. Oh, I'm going to continue listen to him. Oh, you know what? I'm going to turn off my computer and do something else. So your thinking telling you after you see his picture, you see my picture. This is the process that's happening in the mind. So all of this happening simultaneously, quickly, a moment to moment, all day long. Because this is how we experience the world, right? When you go to work, you see people, you drive, you see the car, you see a lot of things on the street. When you go to the office, you talk to people, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you touch, there are all kinds of stimuli that bombarding your mind moment to moment. And that is why meditation is difficult for many people. When you close your eye, there's so many thoughts, cannot let go, don't know how to deal with that because the mind cannot unify. So my master said, all of this must be unified at one place in the body, not outside the body. It must be at one place and one place only. Okay, which is the center of the body. We will talk about that later on in the later session. But anyway, so four of this must be unified at one place inside the body. So that's the idea, that's the concept. So unification of mind is the meaning of the word samadhi. So we need to samadhi bhavana. We need to develop. We need to cultivate. Make sure that all of this can be unified every time you close your eyes or every time you practice meditation. Okay? Makes sense to everyone? So again, you can look at meditation as a mental purification process. You purify the mind. Every time you sit, you purify the mind with or without your awareness. You may not know what's happening in the mind because we cannot see the mind. We cannot see it yet, but we may be able to see it as the Buddha did later on. But no matter how long you sit, you are in this process. You purify your mind from lust, from greed, from hatred, from delusion, moment to moment, little by little. We may not feel the changes right away. You may not feel like, oh, I'm a better person now after 1 hour of sitting. But something had happened. Something is happening every time you sit. Every time you sit, something happening. Okay? So observe that. What if you sit every day from today on until the end of this year? You will be, not even 1 year. Let's give yourself 1 or 2 weeks. You see the difference of your mind in the next 2 weeks. That my mind is not the same. I feel more understanding. I feel more relaxed. I feel more calm. I feel less agitated. I feel more sympathy toward others. How can this thing happening? You do nothing but just sit every day for 30 minutes for 2 weeks. Now you start feeling, oh, my mind had changed. Because your mind is gone through this mental purification. Okay, whatever technique that you use. All right, So this is the summary from my master. He said, stillness of the mind is the key to success. So when we meditate, we still the mind. But the technique to still the mind, there are many techniques. But we still the mind. When the mind still, then we can penetrate to our own mind deeper and deeper. It depends on the level of your stillness, the level of your calmness. Then you can start to understand the mind, start to experience the mind in a much deeper dimension. Okay, so keep the mind relaxed, keep the mind still, keep the mind calm. That's the idea. That's the meaning of the meditation.